So projectors, I mean, I feel for you. I think I would much rather be a manifesting generator because I don't know, maybe there's something like I would, and I'm sure that this is part of the growth, but it sounds like as a projector, your people are very select. And it's one of those things that, you know, you feel the connection when it happens. But in the meantime, you've got a business, you've got a market, you've got a network, you've got to put yourself out there. And, you know, feeling really tying your validation to incorrect things like, you know, responses to marketing programs and stuff like that. But anyway, just that external sort of, are they going to, you know, are they going to like it? Are they going to respond? I can see where that would be something that would be hard for me, although I've been through my own journey with that. So,
yeah. And I'd love to hear more about your journey as well.
Okay. So my journey, I'll just talk about that piece real quick, because I have to say, I've been at this a very long time. I mean, I started personal development. I remember reading like Psycho-Cybernetics when I was in high school or right out of high school. Tony Robbins was just gaining footing in the late 80s. And I just wanted to become the best version of me that I could to create the best life that I could. So I've been pushing myself for a really long time. And I'll preface this by saying I did not understand my true makeup. I mean, I knew like I was a Gemini, and I was like, oh yeah, I'm totally a Gemini. But I also have a lot of Taurus energy. Like I have a lot of planets in Taurus. So I need the grounding. I need a little bit of structure, because too much structure makes me go crazy, because Gemini sort of goes wonky. But I didn't understand as an entrepreneur early more about my true nature. I only knew that I was a Gemini and that I was flighty and airy, and, you know, like I had really big dreams. And when somebody would ask me, well, what's your plan? I would go, well, I'll figure it out.
The universe will tell me.
Right? The universe will guide me. And people would be like, yeah, good luck with that. It wasn't until I started running into money issues in my business, and then general frustration. How I wanted to be. This doesn't feel right. That was something that ran through my head probably 50,000 times over the last 20 plus years of being an entrepreneur. I know we talked about this in Kelly's case study, which I'm going to be posting. By the time everybody sees this video, it should be up. You guys need to go watch it. She's a manifesting generator too, and she talks about this frustration piece. I was just frustrated. I was frustrated that I couldn't get the money right. I couldn't get the business right. I couldn't get myself to feel right about the business. And I realize now, as a manifesting generator, it has to feel right to me. In fact, I even had a conversation with my stepmom recently, and we were talking about, you know, an ex-boyfriend of mine, and everyone was telling me to marry him, everyone. And I will say, as part of the family, because his family was wealthy, I would have been receiving quarterly paychecks as part of the family, which would have been nice. You know, probably a home, you know, a couple of homes. All of that sounded nice, but I didn't want to marry him. And quite honestly, I didn't even really like him. There's nothing wrong with him. He was a great guy. He just wasn't the guy for me. And I had this conversation with my stepmom just recently, and I dated him years ago. And she was like, well, you know, you got mad and decided not to marry him. And we were all going, well, what the hell is she doing? And I'm like, number one, it's not your decision. It's my decision. And it didn't feel right. Why do I need to explain myself? So I can feel like there are moments in my life and in my business where people question my decisions, and I'm like, it didn't feel right. I don't care what you, I don't care what you think. It didn't feel right to me. It has to feel right. So fast forward to 2017, I'm in a business that was all wrong for me. I was totally burned out. I was frustrated beyond belief. And I shut down my business because I didn't, even at in 2017 at 40 something years old, I still didn't understand all of the pieces of my true nature that would allow me to be in the world, be myself, find work that felt right, get the money to click into place, and get everything flowing to eliminate the frustration. And because I was so frustrated in 2017, that's what caused me to close down the business. Now, long story short, I really believe that one of the pivotal points in my life as in my enlightenment, right? As in my personal awareness and growth and empowerment came the moment I decided to dump anything that frustrated me. This was back in 2017. I didn't even know my human design back in 2017. I just knew I was frustrated and I couldn't take it anymore. But dumping that frustration from my energy and leaning in the direction of what felt right for me and things that I loved. I mean, I literally rebuilt my life on those two things.
Beautiful.
And then fast forward to 2019 when I decided to restart. Listen, I'm an entrepreneur. I don't know how to have a job. I can have a job temporarily, but it's not something that fulfills me. I'm here to do much bigger things, and I have to pave my own way. But, fast forward to 2019, I knew that I wanted to rebuild my business completely different from how I had ever done it before. So I really checked in everything. I was checking in. Does this feel right for me? Is this something that I want to do? And I found probably around April of this year, there were a couple of pieces where I was like, I feel like I'm doing this because I have to. I feel like I'm doing this because this is what will generate some end result that I wanted, right? And then we hooked up because something prompted me. It had something to do with, I felt there was one more piece that I needed. And I don't even remember how I reached out to you or what that thing was that prompted me to reach out to you, because we've been connected forever, 5 or 6 years.
Yeah.
And I didn't even know that you were a human design person. I just knew for something clicked. And then I hired you for a consult to help me understand what is this thing that I feel like is still missing, and how do I get dialed in? The last thing that I want to say about me as a manifesting generator, I have an open crown and an open ajna center. And one of the reasons why we ended up hooking up is because I had, I always have a coach. There's probably a couple of months out of the year when I don't, because I just need to rest. Mm-hmm. I tend to it's the, generator in me. I'm always pushing myself. I'm always moving. I'm always growing. It's not comfortable and it's a major investment, but I have to do it or I will not grow to the extent that I know will leave me feeling fulfilled. Right.
Yeah.
But there was something with the coaching. I was like, you know what? They weren't telling me what to do. I was just, what they were guiding me to do. I was like, why do I feel like I'm being pulled off center? It wasn't anything they were doing. It was because now that we've worked together on my human design, it's because of those open ajna and crown centers. I can be a little too quick because I have an open mind and I'm willing to look at different perspectives, and I actually do. And in many conversations and many instances in my life, I can see all sides of the argument. And I'm like, hey guys, I totally get where each of you is coming from. I appreciate that in the way that it allows me to have an open mind and to see people's, different perspectives. Mm-hmm. At the same time, I can get pulled off my center. My head can pull me off center from what my gut says is right for me. And I remember I was feeling I'm like, what the hell is going on here? Something's not right. Right.
Yeah.
So then we got connected, and then you helped me understand. And as soon as I saw the chart and you let me know those were open centers, and, it's not that you have to be careful, or it's not that you have to be cautious, or it's not that you have to defend yourself in any way, right? Regarding open centers. It just means you're open. So you need to filter that through, is this right for me?
Yeah. And your open centers are where you can get conditioned by other people incorrectly. And you can totally be pulled off center with that and put on a path that you think is correct. Because I have a lot of open centers. Like, I have a lot of open centers. And so I get conditioned work-wise, I get conditioned emotional-wise, I get conditioned with pressure to do things. And so the thing is having the awareness that, oh, this is not a correct conditioning for me. So for you, like, you're not here to be certain about everything. You're here to see all the different perspectives and know that there's this realm of possibilities with this. And so you may not be certain which way is right for that one particular person until it shows up and you're like, oh, there it is. And so there's that, it's the openness of being open to receiving. And so if someone's trying to put pressure on you to be certain about your path and your direction, you got to know these things and just like drive forward and like, this is your certainty from here. That's not correct for you.
Right.
And then getting back into the body is so important because that's where your correct direction comes from.
Yeah. And I just want to follow up on that and just add, for me, like, I've got those lower energy centers. I've got my root, I've got my emotional center, and my sacral center. And let me tell you something, those things have guided me through my life. Those things got me through a very challenging and traumatic childhood. And I will also say that my work now as a 40-something-year-old woman, I really sort of imagine myself going into the second half of my life. And as a manifesting generator, I can outwork anybody, but I don't want to do that anymore. I just want to do my work and use my energy wisely so that I can focus it, probably for the first time in my life, into the channel that works best for me. And so when I had that moment of, with my head where I felt like I was being pulled off center, I was like, what the hell is that? The other thing that I just want to mention, because I help my clients with this too, I often, because I come from a challenging, traumatic childhood, I often have women clients who are very successful in their business, but have areas in their life where they are disempowered. And a lot of it has to do up here, right? The conditioning up here. And as soon as I saw my chart, I was like, oh, that's why. Because mindset. I mean, I have been focused from day one. How do I get my mind to cooperate with what I feel in my body? And that, I think, is an important piece, not just as a manifesting generator, but anyone who has core defined centers that always guide them to their North Star. Any undefined or open centers that leave you feeling like, why do I feel off, right? Off center. Just pay attention to that. You got to pay attention to the defined centers that are your guiding light, that are your North Star, that are your truth. There's lots more that I could say about that, but I just want to touch on something that you mentioned, and that's the power. I've had more people this year say, you even sound different.
Ooh.
And I said, that's because, like, I dropped down into my core defined areas. Like, I am very certain about who I am now that I fully understand more about my true nature. and what I'm here to do and how I'm here to work and how I can stay true to myself and how I can fulfill all of my desires, including my desire to be a valuable contribution to the world. I'm no longer, and it's changed how I've shown up in my marketing. I mean, even from January, like when I was asking my coach for feedback on some posts, I actually did a Facebook Live on this the other day. I was like, you guys, it's so easy to be pulled out of our power. It's so easy to seek validation from your coach, from your clients, from, likes and comments, right? In your social media. It's so easy. You really you got to get anchored down into your stuff. It is none of your business what happens after you share your information. Your job, your whole job here. And this is the core of life, biologically speaking, is to share information for the betterment of the next generation at our core. Remove the fact that we are conscious human beings. We are biological beings that are participating in this earth reality. The core of our existence is to grow and share information. If you are doing that in the most basic form, you're living your purpose, right? It's dialing it into, more expansive and deeper levels that get you dialed into what you're here to share and how to frame your business in a way that supports your unique message. But really, my core focus moving forward is simply to share the information that I, up until now, probably haven't been sharing to the level that I was put here to do. So part of that is, like my voice dropped into, my truth, and I feel much more anchored. And thank you so much, Natalie, for helping me with the human design piece, because it clicked so much. It was just that I was like, what the hell is going on? Like, what is that? It was sort of like that moment in the Matrix where there's a glitch. Yeah. And everybody is like, what was that? It's like that. But I don't have moments like that anymore now that human design just sort of brought everything together, because I had studied astrology, I'd studied numerology, which numerology has been very helpful for me. Not that astrology hasn't, it's just information that I didn't really understand. And there's lots of moving parts. I mean, you've got planets that are moving 24/7, and you have to know where they hit in your house and, blah, 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 the house that it hits and blah, blah, blah. I don't have time to analyze a chart every single day.
That is not your energy alignment.
Yeah. So I needed something that would help me just bring in those last couple of pieces. And, as a manifesting generator, I was looking back on some posts that I shared even at the beginning of the year, and they're beautiful, but I know that I wasn't really feeling in my power. And I could feel, and I was like, whoa, that's part of the issue. As a manifesting generator, my job is to stand in my power and help other people claim their power as well. And let me tell you something. Once I was able to look at the chart, you were able to help me understand what my human design chart said. I was like, oh my God, that is my life path. Like claiming the power, forget about the past, not forget about it, but take what you've been through.
Take the lessons.
Yes, even the most painful pieces, especially the painful pieces, and claim your power and turn that into a message that will help other people. And I've literally rewritten the content on my website. I've revamped my offers, all as a result of learning more about my chart, because I'm only here to do me. What anybody else does is none of my business. Right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh, that's so well said. I love it.
Such good stuff.
Yes. There's one little interesting caveat that I want to add on to your open head and ajna center.
Okay.
With this. And I think it'll be really interesting because a lot of people have open head and ajna centers. So this will be really helpful as well. But it's yes, it can be where you get conditioned, and then being able to drop back in your core, like what's actually correct, but knowing that the openness is actually where you're here to be wise about. And so this wisdom can come into play for you, and the openness, because of the openness, open centers actually like connect with other people's centers, and if they have it defined, especially, but you bring in other people's energy and amplify it back out. So if someone has really cool, brilliant ideas, you'll bring those in and amplify them out and be like, oh, this and this and this, and you can like look at it from all these different perspectives, and it's really a cool movie to watch in a sense.
Mm-hmm.
But also because of that amplification, you're connected up with other people's energies. It's almost this sense of reading people's minds in a way, because people will have questions going through their brains, and you can, you'll be able to tap into that because you're amplifying it out. You may get in a sense stuck on and asking these questions of yourself and not really knowing where these questions are coming from. But if you find yourself asking these like weird questions or trying to answer these questions that are just going through your head, you can kind of take a step back and say, hey, wait a second, is this my question or is it somebody else's question that's around me? And so when you're connected in with your clients, you can actually feel the questions that are going around in their head and help them to answer what's correct for them or not. If they're thinking about what they really need to be thinking about or not. And you have the ability to be able to tap into that because of the openness and be wise about, hey, I can feel this pressure in your brain and these questions are coming up and I think you're thinking about the wrong thing. Let's shift that to where you're actually asking the right questions to start manifesting and bringing this energy to you.
That is so interesting that you say that. And there are many levels that I can definitely relate. Number one, I have to surround myself with the right people.
Yes.
Because of those open centers, I can look at my childhood and go, whoa, like, I mean, a lot of my energy as an adult has been unraveling, right? The belief systems that I took on. Nobody made me do it, right? I'm not blaming anybody, but that open availability, right, to other people's energy, definitely feel that. With clients, there are definitely intuitive, either I will get a word or like something will drop in and I'll go, I'm just going to go here. And that's exactly what we end up doing, right?
Yep.
And I love also that you said, let's ask the right question. Because one of the things that I'm using now that I understand my human design chart is I am using my, my gate, I don't even know what you call it, right? The activated gate, right? That goes from my sacral to my throat is the 3420 gate.
Mm-hmm.
And I've done a little bit of research on it. And what's very interesting is, and I know that we've talked about it, because I'm a manifesting generator, I've always been obsessed with like manifesting, like mastering that little piece. And you said, well, just use your throat chakra to start speaking it. And I've been doing that and it's been amazing. What ends up, happening. But it's real. I forgot where I was going with that, but I thought that was an important thing to mention, because wherever your path of power is, that's what you've got to leverage. That's what you've got to put your energy into. That's where you've got to focus. Not that anyone who speaks words is creating their reality. Right. But for me, I think it's especially important because I've got that clear channel. And I mean, that gate is like, it's solid. And there's a reason why I'm designed that way, and just using my voice in a productive way.
Yep.
So I have eliminated complaining.
Oh, cool.
Honestly, if I get around the wrong people,
you amplify that out.
Yeah,
it might just come out, right?
Yeah. But quite honestly, I've just, since having my human design chart done and since learning more about that 3420 gate, which is, there are many names for it, but the voice of God is the one that, I'm thinking of. And it's not that, I am intuitive, I do have intuitive hits, but I think voice of God just basically means you are creating, you are a creator. You use whatever you speak is what you create. So I've just really reined it in and focused. I only speak things that I want to create. And I speak as if, oh, this is where I was going. I speak as if they are created.
Nice.
I'm not worried anymore about figuring out how to get where I want to go. My only job is to do the internal work, create the internal landscape, right? Connect to that desire, and then
Get clear emotionally.
Yes, exactly. Yes. And then speak it out as if it already, so just using my voice.
Yes. And magical things are starting to happen for you.
Yeah.
Love it. It's so much fun. And you're such a good example of being able to step into that and play and experiment with it and line yourself up and then start seeing what happens. Because that's what I like. It's such a head trip when I try to explain it to people that I have clients come in. I'm like, okay, we're going to play because you have a really powerful ability to be able to manifest. And they're like, I don't get it. I'm like, just go with me on this and watch things start happening. And so you are doing this, and it's so fun for me to watch because that's it's rewarding for me to watch it. And that's part of the projector success, is successfully guiding someone to their correct alignment and the transformation that they need to make, the changes that need to happen when they're correctly stepping into that. That's so much my reward, with that. So for a projector, success is the marker. So to me, guiding somebody in their correctness is success to me. Mm-hmm. So success looks differently for each person, but as a projector, that's how I feel success, is that somebody else has been able to step into their design and really start to use it the way that they're naturally intended to create in this world. Yeah. And then stuff becomes easy. And you're like, sometimes you can just snap your fingers and speak it out loud. It might show up in a couple hours.
Yeah.
And for you having that open head and ajna when you're in coaching with someone, being wise about what is being spoken out, what are they thinking about? What questions are being asked? Are they asking the right questions for them? And then is it being translated correctly out into how they're speaking it? Because that's you can sense that misalignment of if they're up in their head and not in their body type of work, and being able to correct them in their mind so that it gets spoken out correctly, if that's correct, if they have a motorized throat, their manifesting generator, whatever, or manifester through that, but being able to make sure that it's correct up here, because that's part of the work.
Yes.
So that's,
I just want to add this last little thing here, because your guidance helped me understand, listen, the quickest way for me to use my point of power and purpose, which is my voice, right? The internal processing, then voicing. Just as an experiment, I offered messenger coaching, and I literally just hit the audio button on the message and reply to their questions. And both my clients are like, oh my God, I have to sign up with you again for another 3 months. And this is the first time that I've ever offered anything. I'm like, messenger coaching, why would I ever do that? But you helped me understand just what's the clearest, you didn't say path, but you just helped me understand how can you do that? How can you just go in that direction and create a direct path right to what's right for you? And for others, it's just
exactly. So there's things like Messenger. I think that's such a great idea. Also, Voxer is a really popular one that's all voice. So people who are that have that defined throat center and are doing coaching, like Voxer is phenomenal. It drains me. I don't have that defined throat center. And so for me to like talk and talk and talk, like I'll go off on little tangents with things, but it's also like a finite amount of time. I'm more designed to be one-on-one with somebody and feel out what actually needs to happen. Because I have the openness in my throat, I actually, similar to how your head works, I amplify out what they're trying to speak, and that comes through me, and I have to trust that it may be really weird sounding. I'm like, I'm going to just say this, and this may be exactly what you need to hear, and most of the time it is, because that's what needed to come out of their system, and they needed to hear it. And sometimes Voxer is a little not my thing, but it's correct for you. And in Messenger, like that, speaking it out is phenomenal. And so that's can get into the little nuances of how we're designed differently to give and to receive in those different ways. So it becomes so much fun when you start tapping into what's correct for you.
Yeah, which is what makes this series so much fun, Natalie, because you're the projector, I'm the manifesting generator, and we can just have like an organic conversation and just ask questions and answer and just sort of like engage in this beautiful organic dance. I mean, none of these calls are planned. I think some of them, I've come in with an idea, knowing that you're a projector, right? Because I want to honor. So I ask, hey, I have this idea. How do you, what do you think? Does it sound good to you? Does it feel right for you? And you'll tell me if it isn't. But in most cases, all I have to do is just invite you, hey, why don't we talk about this? And if it feels right, you're like, let's go.
Let's do it. Yeah.
So awesome. Okay, so guys, thank you so much for joining us again. We are going to do probably at least one more class together. We've had so much fun talking about human design and helping you understand what is your true nature, where do you get your power from, what are you here to do, how can you work with your energy efficiently, how can you open up the channel to power, how can you understand what's not right for you, where you need to set boundaries, maybe some structure that will help you honor who you really are, how you're here to work, what you're here to do, so that you can, like Natalie said, listen, it just gets easier. It's not easy. Being an entrepreneur is not easy, but it gets easier once you understand who you are, how you're built, and how you're designed to be in the world. Things get easier and you don't feel like you're pushing, my business used to feel like I was pushing a large boulder up a very large mountain. It's exhausting. And we just want to help you understand more about your true nature so that you can be in the world and be energized instead of drained, and be in alignment instead of feeling off center, and feeling grounded and centered in knowing who you are instead of questioning and being frustrated or being bitter or those other emotions that we will feel based on our human design type. So if we can be of support to you, please let us know. Number one, I want to invite you to sign up for this entire blog series. I also invite you to check out the case study videos. We're going to have more of those rolling out. Natalie and I are actually going to record at least one more next week that will be rolling out of a projector, so I'm super excited. But I want you to check out those case study videos because those are real people. And these are real time. It's not scripted. We don't rehearse it. We grab the chart and then we dive in. So in those real life examples, you can find pieces of yourself in those charts and pieces of wisdom from our discussion that will help you, again, just align your business and your life to your true nature. And we are looking for some more case studies. So I'll go ahead and put the link below. If you're watching this video later and for some reason we have the case studies closed, then there is still a way for you to work with either Natalie or myself. Look for the links there. But for right now, we are looking for some more case studies. We're looking for women entrepreneurs. I'd love a few more online business entrepreneurs. Just click the link, look for the information, and apply or book your spot. And we look forward to supporting you next time. See you again next time. Bye.